We want to share practical solutions that empower the youth to take charge of their future. By creating a space for open dialogue, we at Proudly South African believe we can inspire and equip young people or the youth with the tools they need to rise above these challenges and, of course, to shape a future with amazing, inclusive possibilities. So, this is really our focus for Youth Month, but not only for this month. I think that the topic was chosen aptly for the month of June, but throughout the year, Proudly South African is so invested in youth employment, in youth development, and in access to market opportunities for youth-owned businesses. So, in order to discuss more of the Proudly South African mandate and how it is as a buy local campaign, as an advocacy campaign, how we assist the youth in the South African market, I would like to introduce to you our first speaker, Ms. Janine van Straten. Janine is the executive at Proudly South African that is handling quite a large portfolio, from heading up strategy for the organization to managing key stakeholder relationships as well as the legal portfolio. So I think you can understand Janine is actually the powerhouse behind the organization as well. And Janine will let you know or guide you towards the Proudly South African mandate and how it is that we include the youth in the benefits of the campaign. Over to you, Janine. Thank you.
Good morning, Alicia, my colleague. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and also for the introduction and setting the tone for today's webinar. It's absolutely a pleasure to be with you today. And I've got some gremlins in my system this morning, so I'm sorry, I'm going to switch off my camera so you won't see my face for the duration of my presentation, but I'll switch off the camera, and I look forward to telling you more about Proudly SA and how and the work that we do that's centered around access to market benefits for our members, but where we really hero our member companies that are youth-owned businesses. I'll be with you now. Excellent. So if I can highlight what our mandate is all about. So if you're not familiar with the campaign, we are an organization, a not-for-profit company that is really in the business to lobby and advocate for the support of locally made products and services through our membership base. But we target the public sector, the buyers in the public sector, buyers in the private sector, but also the everyday consumer, to make the made in SA label of origin decision when they do buy. But of course, what we do seek to advocate for is the support of our membership base. And we also ask to look at the logo, or look out for the logo when you do buy your products. We have representation on our board from various social partners that form part of NEDLAC. So we're well represented. We've got representation from government, from civil society, from unions, as well as then business. So well represented, so that we are always kept in tow in terms of our interests. And in terms of civil society, there are a number of organizations we work with to really highlight and advocate for the support of our membership base that are through our active opportunities. So in addition to us lobbying, we also then educate about the importance of localization. So we know it's often a bone of contention. You might have seen in the media some naysayers about localization. So we have educate as much as possible about the importance of localization. And really the list is quite attain or create jobs, skills development, economic development, looking at empowerment, improved living standards, infrastructure development, as well as the increase of the GDP And of course, what we do advocate for is we hope to export more and import less. So to keep the money within the borders of the country. And all of this slide really also talks to why we exist, I think. Because if you think about industry and how it was. So if you're youth, and I'm sure you might not have been around during these times, but or you might have been very, very young. But if you look at the late 90s and specifically the furniture industry, there were 3,500 plants, and that is now a third of what it was back in 1990. In 2020, we're looking at 1,100 plants. And this was largely due to imports. So we did open up our borders. We became a signatory to the WTO, the World Trade Organization, and that allowed us to import more. And we think there was really a break in the value chain because of this exercise. So everybody thought, everybody thinks, oh, back then they thought that a product from Italy in your kitchen is better than a product made locally. So we are here to kill that fallacy and to showcase that really through our membership base, local is lacquered and it is the best quality. Looking at the number of the employment number in that sector, halved. And when you look at 2000, there were 50,000 direct jobs. In 2020, 25,000 jobs, and these are direct jobs. So it doesn't factor in if a factory closes, a lot of other businesses around that factory also suffers and possibly have to close down. And that brings me to my next slide. It's quite an intricate, if you look at furniture, it's quite intricate, the value chain. So the moment you have a disruption, a factory closes down, perhaps you were making textiles and you were supplying another factory to utilize those textiles to build it around wood for your furniture. That factory to close down. Where does that company get their textiles from? So what was inevitable is that a lot of companies around that business had to close down, and that was really the case for the furniture sector. And you can really emulate this across various other manufacturing sectors if you think about that. In just to support the reason we exist and what we advocate for, we thought it would be good to do some research in this regard. So we did go to Dr. Bidian, Elijah Bidian. He's a very well-known economist in our country, and we asked him to assist us to showcase if there is any sort of investment in the manufacturing sector. And we looked at a lot of the subsectors also. It's quite extensive. If there's any investment in the manufacturing sector, would that create jobs? Would that grow the GDP, etc.? And that's the localization slide, the importance of localization slide I showed you earlier. Would there be any positivity that comes out of that exercise to invest in the manufacturing sector? So 10% investment is what we looked at. And in the medium-term results, absolutely, it did showcase, yes, we can increase the GDP by as much as 13%, or there could be a 9% increase in the fiscal revenue, and almost 75,000, 76,000 jobs could be created if there is a mere 10% in investment in the manufacturing sector. So how can you contribute as a business? You could import replace. If you had previously bought furniture from another country, or if you look at your consumables, even your cleaning products, it could be anything. If you could just invest 10% more into the local manufacturing sector, this is really what the outcome could be. So this research was really well received, and we do find that there's less and less localization naysayers out there. I'd made mention what our key focus areas are. So we're looking at influencing how the public sector buys, how the consumer buys, as well as the private sector buys. But what we also are focusing on is to promote the accessibility of our member product. And it's all good and well to say buy local, but if you don't know where to find it, it makes that exercise really, really difficult. So I would say our unique selling point, well, for our membership base is that we promote access to market opportunities for them. Now, let me take a step back. What does that mean? And Alicia and I work. We do go knocking a lot together to go and find companies to become members, to give localization commitments. But before we sign you up as a member, you have to go through a vetting process. That logo that you see on the left-hand side, that's our member logo. It's trademarked and it means something. And what it means is that companies coming on board have to go through a vetting process. So yes, you see the beautiful colors of our flag. The full 6 colors are there. You're looking at local content. If you come on board as a manufacturer, we do ask, where do you get your raw materials from? Where do you get your components from? And if you have to bring them from outside the borders of the country, because taken into account, industry has really diminished, and you have to bring in more from abroad in terms of raw material and components. We ask about the assembling, or where does the conversion into a finished product takes place. So we're not talking about a wheelbarrow, putting the putting the wheels, the handles on and calling it local. We actually do vet quite stringently in this regard. But if it comes down to nuts and bolts, we say 50% of the cost that it takes to make a product must take place within the borders of the country. So that's really how we vet for local content. If you're a services provider, we look at where do you buy? Do you support other local businesses around you? Is your are your employees based in the borders of the country? So we ask these types of questions, and then that tick in our logo stands for quality. So that means the product has been tested. So yes, you do have to be market ready before you come on board, because we're all about access to market opportunities. So quality, very important. Alicia will also tell you as our membership manager that, if we cannot accept a company that hasn't tested their products. Imagine our member here on the left-hand side in the screen, that's one of the delicious festivals. Imagine the food that he makes. If you consume that and it makes you sick, what kind of turmoil it will bring to his brand, but also to our brand and all of our members that are complying with our key criteria. So very important that we check. And we'll take it on a case-by-case basis, because if there's a factory situation, we often ask for your ISO certificate to test your quality management system. But if you are making food, we ask for a food acceptability certificate. So it really depends on the industry that you're in. We also look to see if you're adhering to safe environmental standards and also practice fair labor practices. So we look at your HR policy, your environmental policy, and if you're a small business and you don't have one, Alicia and the team will help you, and we'll ask that you commit to really reducing your carbon footprint, and we'll suggest ways for you to do that. Brilliant. So once you've gone through that vetting process, you pay a membership fee. I'll share our fee structure with you at the end, and then you're eligible to become a member. So the Proudly SA focus on access to markets in the private sector. So what I'm going to share with you now are really the benefits. So once you've come on board, the benefits of being a member. So I made mention that Alicia and I go knocking to get more members and to get localization commitments, meaning we want companies to buy from our membership base. So we did start an initiative back in 2018, asking corporate South Africa, will you commit to job creation? And this is really the wins that we were managed, the procurement commitments we succeeded in. So we went to banks, hospitals, autos, schools, retailers, manufacturers, and hospitals is a good one, because there is an organization called the National Hospital Network. They represent the smaller clinics and hospitals, and there's about over 200 members that they have on their books, and they're allowed to send to procure for their membership base. So they've got a budget of 3 to 4 billion rand that they want to spend with local manufacturers. So it's a natural good fit that they came to us, and about high tide that we're going to ask them to give us a sense of how that's worked for them, and to have another session with our membership base and then this organization. So you can imagine what a hospital needs. It needs to be clean. It needs, yes, medical devices, but also it needs furniture. It needs stationery. So the list is really, really endless. Let me see. And then we have all of these commitments. So we've got 75 commitments since 2018, which is quite substantial. If you look at the National Hospital Network's commitment, it's about 3 to 4 billion rand per annum. So you can imagine the the number of commitments we received, and also the procurement commitments that came with that. That amount is quite large. So what we thought to do is, we've got these commitments. Why don't we provide a tool for these companies? Then to make it easy for us to do the introductions, we can't do an event. We do introductions via the system that we've got. And it's called the Market Access Platform. So it really is, we've got two elements. We've got a buyer side and we've got a supplier side. So the supplier side is where we load our member companies in. So what makes this very, very special is that we've gone the extra mile to describe our membership base in ways that make it plain and simple. You know who you're dealing with as a buyer when you do look for new companies to do business with. And the market access platform gives you a sense of, are you how big is your business? What is your BE scorecard? It also allows you to tick the box to say that you're youth owned. It also allows you to say if you're Black owned, you're Black youth owned, Black woman owned, etc. So if any of the companies that we are matching as buyers with you on the system, it allows them to also meet their preferential procurement targets, because we have wonderful relationships with associations such as the Franchise Association. They have a big drive also to procure more from Black-owned businesses, specifically Black women-owned businesses. And so we also go knocking on other association doors just to hear what their preferential procurement targets are. And then we showcase our membership base, because they do have their own ways in which to really diversify their business, support more local manufacturers, and also then, meet their own targets. So we're helping them with this tool to do that. So you list your company on the market access platform as our member. We then go to the buyers and request that they list themselves on that system, but also post tender opportunities, so that we can then broadcast these to our membership base, if you're in that space, and then it allows you the opportunity to then bid for that tender, so to speak. So we're quite excited to see where this platform takes us. We're launching it on the 1st of July. And I really do encourage you, if you're on this call today and you're not a member, to please join the campaign as soon as possible. This showcases really just the workflow that I've made mention of previously. There's also an element of evaluating reporting, so that this platform, the market access platform, also allows you then to record your commitment there and for you to measure it, so that we can also measure impact to see how many jobs were retained or created by virtue of who they do business with, so their suppliers. I made mention of the Franchise Association. We had started this relationship back in 2017. We almost had every year a session with the Franchise Association, and we're talking multi-billion rand spent from the collective. If you look at the Franchise Association and their members. So really excited, and Alicia also taking it further, and have Pacific Base was shared really with the Franchise Association through additional endeavors and more in-depth endeavors than before. So every year it just gets better, and our pool of stakeholders really increase. It's a multi-channel, so we really have a really, really good support. So we really do encourage you to join the campaign. If you look at the work we do in the private sector, so yes, this is the work that we do, but you as a member could possibly exhibit at the Buy Local Summit and Expo each year. That's our flagship event. We facilitated 974 meetings over the 2-day period with interested businesses that want to buy from our membership base. So really urge you to come through. We also have partnerships with e-commerce platforms, third-party e-commerce platforms. There's Zulzi. Zulzi is a youth-owned business, and really also the brainchild behind the 60/60 app. So really amazing. We've got fantastic members and businesses that are youth-owned on our books, and so quite excited to see what happens with Zulzi. But what we do with this is we negotiate for our membership base a free e-commerce sites. We ask permission that our members use the logo, the Proudly SA logo, or the phrase Proudly South African, and that helps us to then drive put feet to those platforms, so that our membership base can be supported. We also have our local wine expo. So if you're in the wine space, you possibly could have a stand next year at the expo. It's an annual event, also one of our flagships. And then we also connect in with third-party expos and trade fairs. Delicious is one, Decorex is one, where we really buy space for our members for them to exhibit. Delicious is not a flagship for us every year, but we most certainly see how we can support and be at that festival in a way that drives the crowds to recognize the importance of buying from local manufacturers and really just to showcase our membership base if possible, and of course budget depending. Looking at localization commitments, I had shared with you our endeavors there, matchmaking that happens at the Wine Expo and 3 months after, as well as our Buy Local Summit and Expo, as well as 3 months after, we still continue to do that work. Always matchmaking you with possible buyers through email introductions, connections through our events, etc. So we really do want to make a difference in your business and to see you thrive. We also have the market access platform I'd mentioned, and also website listings. And brilliant. So I'd like to just share very, very briefly the work we do in the public sector space. So if you'd like to bid for tenders in government, we urge you to let us know, become the first, let us know that you want to integrate with the CSD. We then can put you on that system without you doing a parallel process. It also talks to the work that we're doing in lobbying that the public sector include local content provisions in their tenders. And what we're asking them is to stipulate that. And if it's in their policies, the Auditor General has to audit them accordingly. And what we're doing with our members on the CSD platform, we're asking for a local manufacturer inclusion. So if you come on board, you say you're a local manufacturer, which means a member of Proudly SA. You can use the Proudly SA logo eventually. And what we've asked to do is that there is a separate showcase for you on the CSD so that you stand out, so that anybody who buys for government, they then know where to find our membership base on the CSD. So it's quite a nifty innovation. Looking forward to that taking the second phase to take wings, so to speak. And then we also monitor tenders. So yes, we do extract tenders from our system. We connected to about 800 websites whereby government entities post their tender opportunities. We forward that then to our member companies, but there's also a monitoring of local content in that with the DTIC, and it also allows us to know, this entity is not stipulating local content provisions, and it gives us the power then to go knocking and to request that they relook that whilst we wait on the preferential procurement regulations to be promulgated. So the public procurement in play, but the regulations are still being developed. So we've said our say there, and we look forward to seeing what had come out of those workshops we took part in. So we really want to hero the local manufacturer, not the buyer, the local manufacturer, because that's where jobs are created. That's where our economy will grow. So in the consumer space, which is also something that you can tap into as a member, we have the online stores relation is one of them. Alicia also works quite closely with Clicks and others, and we're looking to increase that pool. We've done quite a lot of work in the clothing, textile, footwear, and leather space. We also have our local fashion police. There are third-party expos, social media campaigns, and various other campaigns such as festive season, back to school, Black Friday, etc. The list goes on. It's quite extensive. And then we're very excited to launch our online store, which is called Shop Proudly SA, also on the 1st of July. So very, very exciting. It's free to list for our member companies. Only members are allowed on the site. So please do join the campaign. And if you're a member not yet on the site, please indicate that to Alicia as your membership manager, and Alicia will then contact Ethan and Deneo to assist you to list on the site. So any campaign that we are part of, this is going to be at the forefront, is the online store, which is called Shop Proudly SA. So we're busy populating at a mad pace to make sure all of our members, or as many members as possible, are listed on the site, so that anybody clicking can have access to our diverse range of members through about the 26, well, we've got about 30 categories, main categories on the e-commerce site. And it's a very, very, very competitive rate in terms of the commission rate, so not very high. So really do implore you to then be listed on that site. I'm going to leave you with our ad. It's quite emotive. It really does focus on the legacy we leave behind, and maybe just to give me a seckie, just to tell you how far we've come with this one. I know when I started in 2017, it was the wish of our chief marketing officer. She had already thought about this ad in 2017, but it was a journey. So I think when 2020 brought us COVID, to our country at least, we had to stop and we had to close our borders. And really, the local companies kept us going, kept us alive. And we then approached Dr. John Carney to be our president. He was in the ad, and he was showcasing, it's and we connected with the soccer analogy. Sports always work, and it was game time. He called it game time Zanzi. We have to pause now. What do we do next? So we paused, and we saw what happened is that the local companies kept us going. So now it's 5 years after. What's happening now? So this ad now showcases now it's halftime. So the soccer analogy continues. It's halftime. We are appealing to you, each and every organization, to do your bit and to really uplift local businesses, etc. And this is the why. And the why is very evident when you see this ad. So please allow me to play it, Ali, and then I'll showcase then the membership fee structure. Here we go. I hope the bandwidth allows for us to play this video now. Thanks.
There's a voice that is calling, loudly calling, day by day, the voice of the future.
When I started my business, all I wanted was to create jobs and a legacy for the next generation, because I see opportunity when others see impossibility.
It all started with a thought and then a seed in the garden, which grew into my very own farm that feeds the whole nation daily.
Cotton silk and a little bit of treasure, I create masterpieces that give South Africans an identity, comfort and confidence, because when you look good, you feel good.
From the factory workers to the warehouse and then over the seas, I want to show the world what proudly South African looks like. It all started with just some ink on paper and inspiration to bring people together. With my furniture, I now help create spaces that are beautiful, comfortable, and authentic to human light and connection.
I've always been driven by curiosity. It fueled my dreams to create automobiles that accelerate our nation into greater possibilities and the beauty of the unknown.
I was born into a rainbow nation. My life has been full of colors and mixed flavors. And when I started my bakery, I wanted to share that joy with the world and with South Africans in particular.
All I ever dreamt of was to be a bird and fly high. And now I have the wings to help others fulfill their dreams of flying high too.
But it can only be a dream until you make it a reality. All they need is your faith, your trust, your loyalty, your appreciation.
And most importantly,
Your support.
because supporting local businesses
Helps create jobs
And secures our future.
South Africa, their future is in your hands. So what are you going to do about it? Be proudly South African. Buy local to create jobs. There's a
So that ad is very emotive, and I think it speaks for itself. We are taking the youth very seriously, and we've got wonderful success stories that you can read up on in our quarterly reports, in our annual report, and it just showcases, and it really it really warms our hearts that many companies and many businesses that were youth owned once upon a time, they no longer youth, but they're still in operation, still our members, and we've got wonderful success stories to tell about how they've grown, and they are the that heed the call when we send you the email to say come and exhibit. They're there. The youth does that. So really want to employ you to join the campaign. This is our fee structure. We have not increased almost in 10 years the fee structure. So it is quite affordable to become a member. If you are turning over 5 million rand or less, the membership fee is about 500 rand per annum. And it increases incrementally as your annual sales turnover increases. So the maximum fee is then 100,000 rand, and that's when you turn over 100 million rand or more. So it's also interesting to see how businesses join us as a startup, a market-ready startup, and how they then grow to become diamonds or platinums or diamonds. And really, yeah, we've got some fantastic examples. Thank you so much, Alicia and everybody. And I'll still be here for the Q&A session. So thanks so much.
Janine, thank you so much for that very informative presentation. And I think just from the way you explained, Proudly South African really has the youth at heart, and we do everything we can from marketing to membership to ensure that the youth is well equipped to run their businesses and to access key markets. Thank you for that, Janine. Colleagues, we move on to our second speaker. Our second speaker is Maleba Molofe from Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator. I know that this youth accelerator has done so much for the South African youth. So Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator rather is a not-for-profit social enterprise that works with partners to find solution for the challenge of youth unemployment in South Africa. So really a company that is working on one of the largest and most key issues that, which is youth unemployment. So without further ado, I hand over to Maleba, sorry. You're welcome to take us through your youth programs and maybe highlight to the participants that have joined how your accelerator can assist the youth in terms of employment. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Hi, everyone. So basically, who is Harambee? And before you even go anyway, we know that there is an issue with youth unemployment, which is the problem. So before we actually even talk about a solution, we need to address what the problem is. So we have a saying at Harambee where you need to fall in love with the problem and not the solution. So in that statement, who is Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator? So we are a not-for-profit enterprise that works with partners to find scalable solutions for the challenges that youth unemployment face. And our partners, like us, are committed to results that can work at scale. And this includes your government, your private sector, your civil society, and obviously over 4 million youth. So we are working basically to try and unlock jobs, as well as break down the barriers that keep millions of young South Africans from being unemployed. Our vision as Harambee is to growing the economy and the society that works, but we try to be powered by the potential of young people. So now we at Harambee Youth Accelerator, we try to connect youth to jobs through our operating SA Youth platform. So now we use innovative technology to accelerate youth employment by unlocking and aggregating jobs to make them visible and accessible to youth, and also providing tools for young people to make themselves more employable. So now we speak about barriers. How are we working through these barriers? We use things like research, intelligence, and advocacy. Now we've gathered data from over 4 million young people who we managed to support through the platform. This has allowed us to actually reduce these barriers that exclude young people from the labor market. We've also designed and scaled solutions for job creation. What we have done is that we've partnered or to identify opportunities which stimulate job creation in key growth sectors and design and test solutions that can solve youth unemployment at a bigger scale. Now, with so many young people struggling to find work, what really is driving South Africa's youth unemployment crisis and why it is so difficult to solve? Now, we are currently have an employment state paint a rather grim picture currently. We do know that there are about 56.3 youths that are not in your either employment, your education or training, which is what we call NEEDs. And this is now basically exceeding to like 9.2 million. We have a major contributor in the unsettling reality that poverty and inequality are deeply intertwined with the exclusion from economic participation, especially for youth from undeserved communities. So in simple terms, what this actually means is that young people have to navigate structural barriers to access the labor market. This includes basically high transportation costs, data costs, just amongst the other factors, as well as pathways are not linear or permanent. And this is what we've coined the zigzag phenomenon, which basically entails moving in and out of formal jobs, short-term gigs, learning programs, and entrepreneurial effects. These journeys are really continuous and basically instead of reflecting the realities of a fragmented labor market, a youth labor market. And lastly, the skilling system is not producing work-ready young people for the labor market. Now, as a result, we are finding ourselves in a situation where we have an average of 1 million youth entering the labor market annually. And with this, 2/3 will end up not in education, not in employment and training. That means that essentially we have about 40% who find work in the short to medium term. We have about 30% intermittent work, but mostly not in employment, education, or training. And we have about 10% who do not seek work at all, but also 20% who want to work, but never really do. So in this case, how is Harambee responding to the youth unemployment crisis that we currently are facing? So although ourselves and our partners have contributed significantly to stemming the youth unemployment freefall, we have not yet been able to reverse this trend. Now, what we aim to do is we aim to rapidly scale up what is working and accelerate its impact through coordinated, focused, and deliberate efforts with ecosystem actors. We have worked in partnerships with leading economists to identify the levers needed to radically impact youth unemployment by 2030. So this has validated the potential to reduce youth unemployment by 10 to 20% by 2030, assuming that the growth rate in South Africa remains between 1% and 3%, and that the business government partners and the PYEI continue to provide vital linkages as well as leadership's buy-in. So the current initiatives are gaining traction and significant success has been achieved through these initiatives. And then on such initiatives is our work integrated learning program, right? This flagship is about a 12-month program, and it focuses on preparing youths for careers in the contact center industry. This includes a technical and soft skills training. Participants basically receive instructions in customer service, sales communication, CRM systems, emotional intelligence, empathy, as well as time management. But they also get accredited learning, which is delivered in partnerships with PMI and Google Africa via Coursera. And this curriculum includes digital as well as customer experience skills. And we also provide practical experiences. So meaning that learners engage in our outbound and inbound, as well as email, chat, even face-to-face customer interactions, which is basically stimulating the real world of the contact center environment. So what we also do in this program is that we provide inclusivity focus. So this means that even if you don't have prior experience and support, we still basically onboard you to this program, and it prioritizes those candidates that do not have any experience and they require this type of support. So now there must be other ways that we can scale, and this requires coordinated efforts between business as well as government. So now moving forward, there is a world where traditional jobs are scarce. We are currently living into it, and competition is very fierce, right? So now in this case, how can a young person take control of the economic future? Well, we have limited opportunities in the formal economy, and this is a reality that a lot of young South Africans are facing. So now we are trying to reimagine what it really means to earn a living. So instead of wanting to wait for a job to come to you, we are now trying to create this idea that why don't you create your own through entrepreneurship, freelancing, and self-enterprises. So now this shift isn't just about survival. It's now about empowerment. It's now about building sustainability, livelihoods, and it's about innovation. And this looks a lot like economic independence. Creating your own employment allows you to control your financial future. It allows you to remove barriers imposed by limited job opportunity. You have flexibility and innovation, meaning that if you're an entrepreneur, you have freedom to explore creative solutions. You have leverage to actually grow your skills, and you also address this unmet need in the market. But also you become your own boss, meaning that you have the ability to create jobs and contribute to the local growth and support within your community. Now, lastly, how are youth programs evolving to meet the real needs of young South Africans in today's labor market? Well, we have a few youth programs. They are shifting from a one-size-fits-all interventions to a more dynamic, inclusive, and demand-led models that reflect the lived realities of young people in South Africa. Now, at the heart of this evaluation is the recognition that youth pathways into work are often non-linear, right? So over the past decade, organizations like ourselves, Harambee, and our partners have developed a wide range of interventions that have been tested to address youth unemployment. While we still have a long way to go, there are some key strategies that have proved effective. And these strategies include basically inclusive hiring of excluded youth. By inclusive hiring, I mean that we need to adapt the SA youth by the public, private, and social sectors. Youth face a lot of barriers to enter into the economy. So now they need to be mitigated through inclusive hiring practices. We need to unlock jobs in the sunrise sector. What do I mean by sunrise sector? So these are sectors like your green economy, your digital industries, as well as creative sectors, which offer significant potential for youth employment. And it's also investing in and accelerating youth in the sectors. It can create the sustainability and future-proof jobs that align with the market trends and its needs. So now we also need to be able to enable self-employment and enterprise, basically. So being self-employed and being an entrepreneur are key levers for reducing youth unemployment. You are fostering a more supportive ecosystem for youth-led enterprises, and South Africa can definitely unlock entrepreneurial potential. We need to also sustain work experience programs to keep youth more engaged. So your government-sponsored programs provide short-term work opportunities that keep young people engaged, active, and learning. Sustaining these programs can reduce the number of youth that never work specifically and the youth unemployment rate broadly. So now, lastly, we need to advocate for demand-led skilling. What I mean by that is that demand-led skilling is a crucial lever to get young people to actively participate in the economy. Now, while there are other opportunities available today, skilling must be based on current and future demands. This ensures that young people can secure sustainable livelihoods and be prepared for the future we are building. That is basically all I have for you, Alicia, and thank you so much.
All right. Baleba, thank you so much for that. We have one question. This comes from social media, and I think it's a very important question. So the person has asked, you know, in terms of, so I'm going to summarize it so that you're able to answer it directly. So in terms of the schooling system, not just secondary education, but also in terms of tertiary education, no one prepares the youth for the working world. So you have a multitude of subjects that you go through, whether it be accounting, mathematics, all of that, but no one teaches you the basics of Excel. No one teaches you the basics of how to put together a presentation on PowerPoint, or how to present, you know. So Brandon, it is, yes. So he's asked, how is there something that you, as a youth accelerator, is there something that you can do to spark within the education system a little bit of a change, whereby the youth is actually workforce ready?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So now, if we look at how the education system is structured, we are basically a drop in the ocean, right? It takes more than just us advocating for this. So, and besides that, the SA Youth is literally structured between youths between the ages of 18 to 35. And I hear the question, and we fully understand it, which is why post-matric or post your high school type, we try to advocate with employers to be like, please hire these youths. Yes, we understand they don't have the skills that you want, but if you don't give them that stepping stone, who else will? Which is why we've partnered with other organizations. So people like Yes for Youth, for example, they understand the need for that stepping stone for youth to be able to enter into the labor market. That's why we are also offering the program that we're offering. It is a stepping stone. That's why we don't want you to have any experience. We don't even want you to have any form of skills. Just be ready for work. And we will help you build the skills that you require to be able to further after the 12 months, to be able to further find your own employment, to be work ready. So what we are currently offering is what we currently can do. I mean, if you now start to tap into the education system, it's a big government that you actually need to do. And we can't just now go in and start changing what they've created as a system. But we are speaking with the presidency. There are other things that we are working on to see if how else can we change that mindset, but more especially between those ages, youths that are entering into this labor market. And in most cases, it's post-matric. So that's why we've started to engage with employers to be like, just give youths that stepping stone and advocate for them and give them the skills that will allow them to excel in the workplace.
I think this one that I've received is more a statement than a question. It says, please advocate, to companies to hire youth. We can't have 20 years of experience coming out of school.
So, no, understandably so. Understandably so. We do advocate. That's why when you come into our platform, we state that you are literally hiring entry-level candidates. Do not basically ask them questions at interview that only a person who has 5-year experience can be able to answer. Just give them those questions you are interviewing. Give them, ask them questions that relate to about themselves. What current skills do they have? Is there any willingness for them to grow within your organization? So we definitely are advocating for employers to inclusively hire, more especially those entry-level opportunities. Hire the youth for those. You don't need to have 10-year work experience if you're just going to be taking, if you'll be an inbound call center agent. You'll get the training in-house and be able to actually execute what you've been trained at. So we definitely are doing that.
Lovely. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that robust presentation. And as you can see from the questions, our guests have also appreciated that. Thank you very much. Colleagues, we move on to our next speaker. So our next speaker is Mr. Richard Shokane, who is the CEO and founder of Annexi Solutions. So Richard is a dynamic South African entrepreneur, celebrated author and former teacher with a deep passion for education, innovation, and Africa advancement. He is the author of 3 widely acclaimed books on entrepreneurship, offering practical insights and bold strategies for navigating the challenges of building sustainable businesses in emerging markets. So we welcome Richard, who will take us through his topic today would be inspiring Africa's next generation through innovation and ownership. Richard, welcome. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And thank you to the organizers of this webinar. And I've been taking notes from the previous speaker. It's really inspiring. All right. To begin with, I would like to start with a quote by Les Brown. And this is dedicated to our youth, to our young people, that life is a fight for territory. And if you don't fight for what you don't want will automatically take over. It means that you have to live your life with intentions, and whatever you do, you must be intentional of whatever that you want. You know that it's something that it's not just going to happen. You'll have to work hard for it. You'll have to fight for it. So if you look at people like ourselves who grew up in townships, who studied in schools that were not really supported really by the government, we had to take matters into our own hand. We had to find a way to support our learning. We had to go and find resources to support ourselves. But at the end of the day, being able to go to vets and eventually go and live overseas. But that's not by chance. It was having to really fight and knowing that nothing will just be given to you. For everything that you will have, it will be because of you fought for it, not because of you were just given on a silver platter. And also to add to say to the young people that time, as young as you are, at times you will think that you will stay forever young, and that's not a fact, and it's not true. So time is your greatest asset that you have right now. There are so many people who are wealthy out there, but they only have money, but they don't have the time. So they wish they had the time that you have right now. And I suppose you wish you had the money that they have. But I can assure you that time is your greatest asset. So use it wisely and do not use it on frivolous activities. I have to say, the young people of South Africa, you are highly favored, especially by opportunities like this ones, especially by platforms like these ones. I know I've read a bit about Proudly South African, but I've learned more from Janine as well. And yeah, I've been studying more on this platform. And we are really grateful as South Africans to have these platforms available. To start off, I'd just like to remind our audience and everyone else that it's not the government who builds the economies. It's the entrepreneurs, and it's the business people, the very same business people that Proudly South African is advocating for. These are the people that build the economies. These are the people that create jobs. Government and whatever that they do, they only create policies that makes it easy for entrepreneurs to be able to thrive. But at the end of the day, it's the entrepreneurs that really create these jobs. Just a bit about NXI. Now, NXI is actually pronounced NXI, just like Wi-Fi. Now, NXI is a project that started 7 years ago, The project started while I was actually traveling between the United States and Singapore. I was working on some tech projects between these two countries. And we sat down with a team of technicians and engineers, and we looked into the fact that Africa has always been a consumer of almost everything. We are producing whatever we're producing at a small scale. Let it be we produce wine at a larger scale. But whatever we're producing for ourselves, that's what I'm talking about. Whatever products that we're producing, we produce at a very smaller scale. Whereas if you look at the US, whatever they produce at a much larger scale to even serve Africa. But we don't do that. We just produce to serve our little townships, to serve our own tribe. Maybe eventually serve the whole nation of South Africa. But we don't really produce to serve the globe. And that's what NXI advocates for. NXI was started so that we can now serve the entire globe with our smart technology. So we sat down and we worked on the R&D, and we came to a conclusion. We went through all the testing stages. We went through all the testing facilities. We went really through a rigorous testing stage for the past, let me say, 7 years now. And we then learned that here in South Africa, there are actually companies with the capacity to do some of the components that we need. Maybe these companies that are existing at the moment do not, let's say, for example, there's a company that is able to process the cover of the phone to make it a full product, to make it from your raw material to the actual product. But for them to be in business, they need to also connect with a company that manufactures the, let's say, let me think of the motherboard. Unfortunately, there's no company that manufactures motherboard in South Africa. And that's the reason why the company that is able to build the host of the phone would not be able to thrive or to succeed if there is no other company that can manufacture the other component. And that's the reason why we actually do not have our own full-own smart technology in South Africa. So really, when we came on board, there was, it's either we've got a few companies that are assembling. I know that there was a company that, tried to assemble phones locally. The name of the brand, I think it's Mara brand. I have to say their intentions were well, and they were really on the right track. I don't really know what actually, what actually happened. But what I can tell you is I don't think they are still in business. And it's really not something we should celebrate. It's something that we should really be concerned that companies like those ones, they come and eventually they just dissolve. And we should somehow, to a certain extent, we should also take responsibility. Yes, we should. Yes, of course, the responsibility lies on them to make sure that the business succeeds. But at the same time, it also lies on us as South Africans to make sure that we support local brands, to make sure that we support products that are made locally. Now, NXI, we've got our own R&D facilities based in Randburg, and we are using some of the machinery that was used by this company. that used to make phones. And we are also in partnership with some of the local companies that make these components. But at least now they do have a partner that they can work with. That partner is NXI. So, and we also have, we also in partnership with the government in the Free State. In the Free State, what we're going to do, we're going to manufacture, I think by October, we're going to fully manufacture our laptop bags locally. Now, these laptop bags are, they've got the African touch. If you go to our website, you would see how these laptop bags look like. You've never seen such a design ever. It's quite a unique design, and it really stands out. So these laptop bags will be manufactured in the Free State, and this is a project piloted by the team in the Free State. And I have to say, so far they're doing extremely well. By early next year, that's the latest. It could be late this year. It could be by November or October. But you know, by early next year, we'll have created over 1,000 jobs, and we are looking to employ young people. We're looking to employ the youth, that is, the young people that are staying at home. Of course, you have to go to school. You must have some sort of qualification. But for this particular one, really, you do not have to hold a master's or having come from vets or whatever it is. We're going to absorb as many young people and train them and give them the skills. And we also have platforms here in NXI that we're going to, our MD will start with a program very soon. We are going to have programs for the young people, for youth, and obviously it's for those who are interested in tech. I mean, we can't just take everyone who's not interested in tech. We only want to absorb young South Africans of any race. We are not really, you can be Indian, black, white, colored. It's really not a big deal for us as long as you're a South African. This is a South African project. It doesn't have much to do with race really. So we're going to take a lot of our young people, but we'll mainly look at those who are disadvantaged, at those who don't really have the resources and the platform. I mean, if we had to choose from between a child who comes from Houghton and one who comes from Soweto, would really want to give the one who comes from Soweto an opportunity. But we're not going to overlook some of the skills that the one who comes from Houghton would bring into the company. But we would really want to empower those who are really coming from disadvantaged background. So we're going to have learnerships for IT programs and engineering graduates. And we're also going to get the youth involved in research and development of the products of NXI. And we're going to also train youth in sales and leadership. And most of the franchise, we're going to have a very interesting franchise model. In California, we have a partner there who has now built a very big team who's going to pilot the NXI franchise. I think by October that franchise will have been opened. Now all their products will be buying them from South Africa. It's a franchise, and that's the very same franchise model we're going to use here in South Africa. And these franchise will be owned and run by mostly young people. And we're going to build a program that makes it easy for people and businesses, people who are interested in buying this franchise. I mean, we're not going to talk about if you want to buy a well-known brand right now. Even if you come on the table with 5 million, they won't listen to you. But this one really our franchise will be starting just below $1 million. You'll be able to own a franchise. And we're going to advocate that the people who are going to run and manage those franchises will be mostly young people. So really, NXI is fighting to make sure that, I think by 2020, I don't have the stats with me, the MD has, but we do have that presentation that we were showing to our leaders. By 2027, we'll have created over 5,000 jobs nationwide, in most of the provinces in South Africa. And we have branches in Botswana. We have a branch in Botswana. We have a branch in Lesotho. We have a branch in Zambia, and we also have a branch in Eswatini. All these branches are doing extremely well. They are consuming our products, and they really love the quality that our products have to offer. Yeah. So basically, what NXI really stands for is, we want to teach. We're going to train our own people. We're going to train the young people. We're going to train young people in coding skills. We're going to train young people in design, in tech design. We're going to train young people in cybersecurity. And we're going to train them to also become creators, not just to become consumers. And also we're going to also assist them in how to build their own, and how to run their own franchises. And that is really supported dearly by our government here in South Africa. And I would like to apologize that we are not yet out there. I mean, as you're driving, you won't see the billboards of NXI yet. And that's because we are working in the background. We are working tirelessly in the background to make sure that by the time we go out there in the market, everybody, we've got all our ducks in a row. We've got all the full range of all the products that we're looking for. And by the time we go out to the market, the plant in the Free State it's fully ready. And also we're working with the government in Richards Bay, in KZN. They've given us a massive land there, wherein we're going to build another plant there. I think it's going to be one of the biggest plants of NXI. That will easily employ over 1.5 of different skills there. That people, and remember, when we're building such companies, it's not only the people who work in the factories. It also includes security. It includes cleaning. It includes logistics. So it's a whole chain that we're going to create direct jobs and indirect jobs as well. So really, I just want to encourage our youth to continue to be lifelong learners. Don't just stay at home and complain that the government is not doing anything. Don't just stay at home and just use your time. As I said before, your time is your best asset. Use it for your benefit, not as a liability. So we encourage the young people to study, to research. There are a lot of learning platforms that you don't have to pay. You can, just sacrifice about 6 months on learning how to code, or sacrifice 6 months learning about cybersecurity, for instance. AI. We eventually going to be the leading AI company in the whole of Africa. Why? Because we've got an incredible team. We also have some of our team members also doing interesting research for Harvard University, and some are doing interesting research for universities in Hangzhou, that is somewhere in China, and really globally. So we are also creating interesting AI platforms that will belong and be owned by NXI. And one of the things that we are also building is our own encrypted chat platform. That is your WhatsApp. But WhatsApp doesn't belong to us. We want to build something that belongs to South Africa, that belongs to Africa, and that is built by the brains of South Africans. We've got incredible people in South Africa. We just need to encourage them and bring them close and give them the platform that they need, give them the opportunities that they need. So with this being said, I just want to, to encourage you not to lose hope. Things are getting better. South Africa is not as bad as it was yesterday. It's improving on a daily basis. Tomorrow will be better than it is today. I know it. At times it's tough and it looks like it's always going to be like this. But I can assure you that nothing ever stays the same. Things do change. But when things change, you better be ready for that change. Because the unfortunate thing is, 10 years ago, things are not the same. Things have changed. But the fact might be that you are still stuck in the past. You still haven't increased in knowledge. You still haven't upgraded your skills. So it's very important, young people, to train yourself, equip yourself, learn on a daily basis, teach us whatever you want to become. You don't have to be in tech. Whatever that knowledge that you want to acquire, make sure that you invest in that. We've got ChatGPT, we've got a lot of AI platforms that you can learn from. And there are also other free platforms that you can actually even get certification from. It's all on you to research on those and yeah, just keep on equipping yourself. And I can also, just to close, in closing, just be mindful of how you spend your time. 2 hours spent in a bar, 2 hours spent outside sitting somewhere in the corner, 2 hours spent sitting with a group that really does not add value is, you can multiply that 2 hours by the amount of years that really you have. If you say 2 hours times 10 years, it's really so much time that you wasting, and you are not really getting anything in return. If you spend time with nine, sorry to use the word, but if you spend time with 9 idiots, I can guarantee you're going to be the 10th one. So make sure that you surround yourself with people who add value, with people who are smarter than you, with people whom you can always learn from. Thank you so much, and we are grateful for this opportunity. Thank you to the program organizers and all that. Thank you so much.
Richard, thank you so much for that presentation. I think, you said a lot and we've learned a lot, but I think 2 very important points, and it's something that I, as I head up the membership department, I find this such an important point, and I hope it hits hard. A lot of the time we do retail readiness programs, we do pitching sessions, we teach our members how to stand in front of a retail buyer and pitch their business. And and it's not always well received. And exactly what you said, everything is changing. So you need to be ready for that change. And I always say for the opportunities, the pitching sessions, and all the training sessions, it is when opportunity meets preparation. You have to be ready for the opportunity. So a lot of the time, I've noticed that youth-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, they don't want to. They don't have the patience for the in-between, the learning, the developing, the growing, and the readiness, So I think that point is so interesting. And also, who you surround yourself with can determine where your business and yourself can go to as well. So thank you very much for that. And well done on 3 amazing books. That's such an accomplishment. Congratulations to you. Thank you very much.
Just one last thing. I'd like to donate 10 of these books. The title of the book is called "We Are All Vendors." It teaches you how to sell. So what I want to do is I'm going to ask my driver to bring 10 of these books to your office, and then you can decide which entrepreneur you would like to give the book to. It's a booklet that I wrote during COVID-19. I noticed that all of a sudden, everyone has become an entrepreneur. Everyone is selling one thing or another. And that made me realize how important selling is. So selling as a skill for survival. And this book will really assist anyone who ready to understand that it's extremely important, exceedingly important to learn how to sell. So this book, you can share it with 10 of you, whoever you want to give it to. So I'll send my driver to bring it down there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Our participants on the call, if you would like, a copy of the book, please put that in the chat box. I'll make a note of that, and when the books arrive, we'll have that couriered or dropped off to you. Thank you very much for that, Richard. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Colleagues, we move on to our next speaker, who is a cosmetics brand, this is a member company, and Botswana Fab, and Florence Jelly will talk us through business profile and how organizations has included youth in their companies. Florence, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Wow. Thank you so much, Alicia. Oh, Richard, I really take the note as well from my side.
Botswana, we can see you as you're a cosmetics company because your skin is glowing. Colleagues, I'm not sure if we've lost Florence. Let me just have a quick check. Florence is
yeah. Oh,
okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm back. I saw I was signed in. Thank you so much. I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, Alicia, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm deeply honored to be part of this meaningful dialogue. Thank you so much for Proud SA. Richard, thank you so much for the powerful speech. Really, time is here, time change, and things are changing indeed. I also take notes that, you know what, always stay positive, stay with positive people so that your mind can be positive. Because in business, we don't want negative things. Thank you so much, Richard. I really take note. That was very powerful and informative. Botswana Fab Cosmetics. Florence is the founder and the CEO of Botswana Fab Cosmetics. So Botswana Fab Cosmetics is building power, purpose, and prosperity with youth. I'm here today wearing the proud badge of Botswana Fab Cosmetics, a South African brand born out of belief in youth, local innovation, and in beauty of resilience. We are more than just a cosmetics company. We are a platform to transformation, and our story is one of the youthful determination meeting community purpose. Who we are. Botswana Fab Cosmetics begin with one bold vision: to redefine beauty as an act of empowerment. From day one, our focus was clear: produce proudly local, high quality, affordable product that speak to divine South African identities. Botswana Fab Cosmetics was established in 2019 and it was launched in 2021. Botswana Fab Cosmetics is a manufacturing cosmetics brand which specializes in blending natural ingredients such as essentials, oil, herbs, and plant with technology to create innovation product. We manufacture lotion, body butter, and we know like there's no one who's using a lotion these days. So we are the personal care. We also produce body butter, clothes serum, tissue oils, lip balms. We do also manufacture fragrances. We do also manufacture turmeric soap, glycerin soap, and we manufacture everything from the scratch. And also again, but more than a brand, we are a moment powered by young mind, useful energy, and sheer hunger to change. Indeed, change is here. One day will be older people and the young one will take over. So youth, you must focus on the good things. Things are changed and times also. And also they say we have 24 hours a day. And then what are you doing in that 24 hours? Are you doing the positive things? Are you surrounding yourself with good people? That will help you to grow your business, to see things in the positive way. Because the mind that is always complain, you'll always complain, you'll think like, oh, there's no job. But if you stay positive, you'll see that indeed things change. So young people, you must focus because things change. One day you'll be the elderly people and encouraging the young one. And I normally say to people, I'll be happy with let's say you grow up and then your children come in and then they will ask you actually what you were doing with the time. Are you happy and going to explain about the time that you have in this world? Because everyone in this world has a purpose. Are you happy with your purpose? Did you find your purpose? And also in business lesson, what the hustle taught us. Number one, they say start with purpose, not perfection. We launched before we felt ready. That taught us to adapt in the real time. And trust me, nothing built confident like problem solving on the fly. And also partnership is power. We have collaborated with local creativity vendors and youth influencers. Why compete when we can create together? I normally say to people like we are so many in this world, whereby if we collaborate and as a business people, each and every person has their own client. So if we can support one another and grow together, we will go somewhere. And know your why. Our purpose was never about profit alone. It's about using beauty to reclaim voice and visible in a space that often overlook us. Empowering youth is not just in spirit, but in practice. Over 70% of our street activities, vendors, opportunities, and brand ambassadors are young people from township and rural areas. We offer short-term skills development opportunities, try to product to launch and campaign. Through our pop-ups, power series, we showcase youth-run stores and elevate overlook entrepreneur brilliant. Like we do have the distributors, they are selling our cosmetics. So people are making money. If we give them the training how to sell, like each and once a week we do have the program whereby we train them how to sell. So we do have the distributors in the provinces. They sell our cosmetics, they sell our perfume, and they are making money. So start where you are. Never think like I normally say, never estimate the power of selling. Selling, you'll see one day your vision when you start building something when you are young. One day it will make sense. To every one person tuning in, the triple threat of poverty, inequality, and unemployment is real. But so in your potential, you don't need generational wealth or perfect timing to start. You need encourage and small plan and the willingness to grow through the unknown. Start where you are. Never think I don't have equipment. When we start without the equipment. If I can tell you, we were using the plastic to refill our lotions. So anything that you have, start from where you are. Because when you already started, it will give you courage, and also it's gonna give you that the plain vision that, oh, when you grow up, you need those filling machine, you need that equipment. But never think like whatever that you have, it cannot start. So start what you have. Let your next step be mess. It must be. But let be yours. It can be a mess, but let it be yours. We grow up in the business, we make a mistake. We don't say everything is perfect. Even the success people, they make the mistake in their business. But you must start. Don't think like I have to have all this equipment, all these things before I can start the business. Start where you are. And also at Botswana Fab, we don't just sell cosmetics, we shape narrative. We ask, what does beauty mean in Tembisa, in Mamelodi, in Mahikeng? It means power, boldness, identity through youth-led campaigns. We are putting that vision forward, unfiltered and unapologetic. You need to be strong and be bold. I normally say when I start a business, I know, yes, I'm not perfect, but when you start and you surround yourself with the people, positive people, will show you, here you make a mistake, rectify, and then you do what? You don't give up, you go forward. Clothing thought, as I close, this is not just about a product or a policy. It's about the power which each hold. The same hand that's wipe a mascara, wind, or craft a resume are the hand that will rewrite South Africa's story. We are not just a future, we are a force. Young people, I say keep on trying. It is better to fail while trying. Never give up. Have that vision. Draw in, have the vision board. Whatever that you like, write it down. Botswana Fab Cosmetics I started while I was in high school. I used to blend hair, like beautiful things. So as young as you are, there is something that you like. Yes, normally I understand they say all of us, we need to be educated, but also your skills is very important. We also need, there are people that they are not that educated, they don't have degrees, they just have a matric. Also the EFT, the college certificate. But if you can look them where they are, because they know what they want. Yes, you will focus and try to do other things. And then at the end, you will find out, actually, you are not that person. You have to have the masters and the degrees. You have to start something. And the people that are studied, they will join your vision. They will help you to grow your vision forward. Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you, Program Director. I say, let's build together. Over to you.
Florence, thank you so much for that. Really inspiring, and I fully agree. As much as we need skilled youth, we also need, entrepreneurs that have heart for what they want to do and have the discipline to make it a reality. So thank you very, very much for that, and all the very best with your business.
Thank you, Alicia.
Colleagues, we have our last speaker, Conso from All Day Jam. Conso has been a member to the campaign for quite a long time, and I know he has these little conversations with me on the phone. I want to go to that event. I want to exhibit at this event. So, and we absolutely love his products. Our CEO makes reference to his business at so many different meetings that we go to because Conso has such an amazing product. And you can see that, whatever he does in terms of his jams and his business, he does it with such displayed excellence. Conso, I know you want to talk to us about the youth and, how companies like yourself, sorry, can empower the youth. But I also know that you have a video for us. I'm just trying to see if we can. I don't know if you want to maybe talk first. Oh, I see we won't be playing the video. Okay, so let me hand over to you for your presentation, and then we'll share the video. Konsa, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning to all the participants and all the panelists. Thanks to Proudly SA for always giving us this opportunity to come and speak to the youth as well, and all the opportunities that we get from the exhibitions, from them buying from us. It means a lot to us. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Khonzisi Laotswe, the founder and CEO of All Day Jam. All Day Jam is basically a company that farms organic fruits and vegetables. Then we further process them to manufacture our jam spread. I started this business immediately after I finished my grade 12, whereby I was taught by my grandparents how to farm and how to process the jam. My grandmother taught me how to process the jam, of which she also got the skills from her mother-in-law. So this has been a generational recipe, a family recipe that has been continuing from generation to generation. But then when I finished school, I decided to take it and grow it further. So in grade 11, I attended a Step Up to Startup competition. That's whereby I was introduced to the entrepreneurship world. I wanted to be an engineer, but then after being introduced to the entrepreneurship world by the competition that I entered, I just decided to start the business after matric. But then it was I didn't just have that idea of starting All Day Jam just like that, because while growing up, while my grandparents used to take us to the farm, to the garden, as young as I was, I thought this was abuse to me, but then I was not aware that they actually passing a skill to me that I can use tomorrow to create job opportunities and to grow as well as myself. So we started All Day Jam in 2019. From the skills that I've gathered from those competitions that I've attended, I managed to use those skills in order to build a business. But then it didn't just start from getting fundings or getting opportunities. It started from myself working hard, taking the time that I had, and I said, I'm going to garden, I'm going to start this job. And up to so far, the business has been running for a period of 6 years. We have already employed 8 people in our business, of which 5 of them is youth in full. So we've got 2 guys that are farming in our garden, of which we've actually taught them how to farm. And we have also taken them to training to go and study organic farming in order for them to understand the process of producing the tomatoes and the yellow melons right from the beginning. Because we can't just give you a training, then we say we are done. At All Day Jam, we are very passionate about educating ourselves as well, because we're not just saying we are running a business. Time goes and things change. We need to adapt as time goes on. Like now, we are moving to the green world. we need to venture into those spaces and learn. We can't always use the old methods of farming. We need to move into the traditional ones and the sustainable ones that are healthy. And this year, we have just graduated. Last year, myself and other two employees here in our facility, we participated in a food and beverage course, food and beverage packaging course under Food Bev CETA, and we managed to graduate from that course. It was a 1-year course, and today I am fully happy and satisfied, whereby I could say that of my employees in my facility, they can produce a healthy gem because they can understand all the processes and regulations that they need to follow. Because, like, we are dealing with food. Food is something that is very uh, sensitive, of which you need to handle it in a good way, because we are not just producing for ourselves, but then we are producing for the masses that are out there. So when we create, when we said go to school, we expected them to come back with the knowledge that they will gather there, including myself. Then we come back to the facility to teach those that didn't go to study that particular course. Growing the business, we've been having a successful route and challenges throughout the route, because remember, by the place where we farm our own raw products, we actually found that space as a dumping site, but then we changed it into a place to farm. And the place was not secured, and we used to face challenges in our community whereby people would come and steal our yellow melons and tomatoes. But then we didn't give up at that time. We said, no, let's continue doing this, and maybe people will understand later. But then we found ways on how to stop them, like tomatoes. We found ways of harvesting them and making them to be ripe well at our factory. And with the yellow melons, what's nice about them is that they thought it's watermelons, but then whenever they would take them, they wouldn't know how to use them, and you can't even eat a yellow melon while it's like that. And those are some of the challenges that we have seen in our business. And also some of the challenges that we've seen, it's market access. But then we always said, no, we can't always cry and say there's no market out there, there's no market out there. Let's create our own market, of which we decided to go to local stores that are here in our township where we are based. And like now, we are currently supplying them with our products. We also given young people opportunities as well to resell our products and gain commission out of that. So we are not just saying, yes, let's grow as all day jam, but then we're looking at others. What are they doing? We're looking at people that are baking as well, and saying, how can we partner with you, especially the youth, and say, you can use our jam as your jam tarts. On your jam tart, you can use it as your pizza base, of which we already supplying to others that are you making pizzas here in Orange Farm. His name is called Mkuku Pizza. He's using one of our tomato jam as a pizza base. So these are other opportunities that we get in terms of partnering with the other youth that's out there. And our goal is not only to share our knowledge and expertise, but we also want to inspire the young ones and motivate them to pursue their passion and their dreams as well into reality. And uh, what we want to see in the next few years that we are running to, because like we are running to a decade now. We are in a residential area, of which we started in a small kitchen, and we managed to expand our facility by buying a shipping container that has a cold room as well. We have all machineries that can produce 1,000 units in a week. But then now we want to grow. We want to go to other bigger retail stores like your Food Lovers Market. We are on your other online platforms as well. But like now we want to be on the actual shelves on retail stores, unlike the tuck shops and only business to business model. So what are we saying? We want to expand in this, then once we reach the 10 years stage and go to the industrial area. Once we reach the industrial area, that's where we will be able to create more job opportunities for the younger ones that are coming behind, because we are studying a program next year whereby we will start teaching young kids in schools how to farm tomatoes and yellow melons. Why? Because we've realized that our business is growing and the demand is growing. And since we are not yet into the industrial area while we are still in the residential area, let's utilize the schools and the kids that are at schools so that they could start farming and understand how to farm our raw products according to our specs, because we've got specs that we look at, especially when we go to buy tomatoes. There's particular tomatoes that we are using. So we're saying let's teach the kids, and we can go back to the schools and buy from those schools, because like now we have passed the skills from them and we are buying from them. We're already giving them access to market, of which we know that we need these tomatoes, we need these yellow melons. Let's take these things let's buy these things from them, then we process, then we can take our products to the shelf. So that's a value chain that we are trying to create around our community before we could move out of our community, because of the demand as it's growing. We can't go outside and outsource, whereby in our community we're still facing a number of lot of young people that are unemployed, of which we can pass these skills to them while they are still at school, so that once they finish school, they know that when I was still in high school, I used to plant tomatoes for old age jam. Then the school, with the old age jam would come and buy from the school. Of which this thing is also going to help the schools in our community. How so? They will be creating funds for themselves. The schools will be able to buy some of the things that they can't buy. So we are actually creating a good value chain in our community, and we want to grow as well as we are all day jam. And I want to emphasize this to our youth. Uh, I've been listening to some of the interviews and documentaries and looking at our history. Since it's Youth Month now, we had June 16, whereby uh, the youth were actually fighting for their struggle. But then looking at our generation, it's so sad that we are using YouTube and TikTok for entertainment. But then why can't we use these platforms to teach ourselves like things like this, how to farm? Look, let's change the algorithm, guys. Let's start to educate ourselves. We can't all be entertainers on YouTube or on TikTok. Let's change the narrative and create job opportunities. If you could go to China, in one street, there's a lot of people that are sewing and they are exporting their things to our countries. So why don't we all do something and process, then look at and have a bigger picture and say, no, we are not just going to supply South Africa, but then we producing locally for our locals, but then we also looking at an export market. Let us think broader, because there's a lot of market out there. We shouldn't just look at South Africa and say, this is the market that I have. There's already someone that's doing this particular thing. There's other countries out there that needs these services, that needs these products to be out there. I don't have much to say, but then I was sharing these challenges that I've been facing in the business, and the achievements that we've managed to achieve, and also the team that I'm working with. And we are focusing on the youth, because I'm young. I love working with young people. And we do also have old people in our facility, of which is 3 of them. They are older than me as well. But then they bring discipline to me. I get to learn from them, and I get to grow as well, because having those older people around us, we get to stay consistent, and we get to always stay disciplined. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that presentation. And so well done on your business and your ability to employ other people and really, not just create employment, but provide a skill to people is so important. And you doing that is such a blessing. So well done to you. I think, colleagues, we have come to the end of our program. And I want to end off with a few quotes, just to, just to be able to bring all of the presentations and ideas behind our speakers, bring it together and leave you with these special quotes. So one of it is, "You are never too young to lead and never too old to learn." And I think that's so powerful because as the youth, and as you're facing so many challenges in this country, it is so important to understand that you are not too young to be a leader and you are never too old to learn. So just to say that you must be continuously learning and growing and developing, and always be open to learning, because if you're not open to learning, as the saying goes, if you're not open to learn, then you know everything. So there's no opportunity for growth. The future belongs to those who harness the power of their youth, daring to dream and determined to achieve. I think that's also so important because, as most of the speakers alluded, there was one thread that came together, that the youth, aside from owning their skills, they must also have heart for doing what they want to do. And lastly, in youth, we learn, and in age we understand. So it is so important. I think that's one of the greatest importance. Also, when the youth come into corporate, the youth have ideas and they come very technologically advanced, but one can never take away from the person that's been in the business, who has historic memory, and who knows processes. So yes, the youth is equipped with learning and growing, but never be, never think that you are not able to learn further. So it is important to say, in youth you learn, and as time goes by, you understand. So with that said, I'd like to thank every one of our speakers today. You have contributed so valuably. You've let our youth know how they can tap into the market, how they can run their businesses, what opportunities are available to them, what programs are available to them. But you also let our youth know, from a perspective of emotions and heart, that discipline will take them a far way, and the ability to learn and grow will also take them a far way. Also, the ability to learn and be prepared when opportunity meets preparation. So with that said, I'd like to thank every one of our speakers. Your presentation was so valuable. We've each learned a lot from you. Thank you very much, and all the very best to each of you with your business. May you soar and may you grow from strength to strength. And yes, and to all our participants on the call, thank you for your time. And to our member companies also, thank you for joining. We've come to the end of our webinar. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.